acknowledge that we were founded on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Attawandaronk, the Mississauga and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and now live on land that is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We have many representatives working across this land now known as Ontario, and we acknowledge that there are 46 treaties and other agreements that cover the territory. We are grateful to be able to work and live on this land, and thankful to the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have cared for these territories since time immemorial, and who continue to contribute to the strength of Ontario and to all communities across the province. To continue to center reconciliation, we encourage our team, partners, students, and teachers to take time to learn about the lands they are currently on. Visit native-land.ca for more information.
Awesome. Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited to have you join us for our final Local Food Week virtual food and farm field trip. I'm Madison, I'm from Eggscape, and today we're headed right into the heart of Toronto to explore how food can be grown locally, even in a big city. So make sure to put any questions that you have in the chat. John and Corinna, the amazing farmers you're going to meet in just a moment, would love to hear from you. So please don't be shy. Put anything you're curious about during the visit into the chat. So today we are visiting Zawadi Farm. It's an urban farm, which means it's in a city, which is located right in Downsview Park, right in Toronto. Zawadi Farm is more than just a place to grow food. It's a community-powered space that brings together farming, sustainability, and education, and it's a part of a network of farms working together to make our local food system stronger. So very fitting for Local Food Week. They use regenerative practices, which you're going to hear about more, which means they help take care of the soil and our planet. And they'll talk to you about that some more. All right, so we're going to jump in the car and we're actually going to head over to the farm because we need to drive there since it's in the city. All right, let's get going. Oh my goodness, look who we ran into. All right, so this is John and Corinna. They're the amazing farmers at Zawadi Farm. And I'm going to pass it over right to you two to introduce yourselves and your farm and take us on a tour.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karina.
I'm John.
And we're here at Zawadi Farm. We're in the greenhouse. It's a bit rainy today, but I think the rain's going to hold off for our field trip. So we have a little organization called Growing Growers, and we're part of the bigger family of Zawadi Farms right here at Downsview Park. And so we wanted to introduce you to the goings on here and what it's like to work in the city on a farm and take care and feed many, many people and also take care of our planet. We John and I started farming not too long ago, actually. We've learned a lot in the past few years. And it was really during COVID that we really, part of our community was urging us to learn to grow our own food and teach others to do the same. So we learned, and we figured if we could learn, other people could learn too. And so we run workshops here at Zawadi. And you'll hopefully meet Jesse, the owner of Zawadi Farm, and some of the team. John's here with me, and we also go into schools and do workshops. And of course, a very important part of our team is Hazel, our barn cat, who's with us right now as well.
If you can see Hazel.
Yeah.
That'll work. Use this tech.
So Zawadi is just over 10 years old, and this is its second site here at Zawadi at Downsview Park, right in the middle of the city, Toronto, North York. And Jesse's actually in the greenhouse, so we're just gonna get him to introduce himself to you as well.
Hello everybody, my name is Jesse. I'm the founder of Zawadi Farm. Welcome to the farm. There's a lot to show you, so I think John Karina will have a lot of things to show you. We have seedlings going on right now, but being it just rained right now, we have a lot of harvests and just field work going on. So I apologize for being short. Good to see you all. You'll learn a lot from these guys. Bye.
Cool, thanks, Jesse. All right, so how about we start walking?
Yeah, I think we're gonna show a video just that we're truly in the city.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't believe us, and maybe you're skeptical, maybe you're saying, no, that can't be downtown Toronto. Well, they took a video to prove that it is. So take a look at this and spot the landmark that might prove that it is. All right, so hopefully you spotted that landmark. Truly downtown, you can see the CN Tower when it's a clear day outside. So yeah, it's quite the spot that you have there. And yeah, would love to go into it. We just have one very important question from the chat here. From Miss Loach. We love Hazel. Does she catch mice for you?
Hazel does. Let's see if I can get a little shot here. So literally this morning, Hazel's coming right up to me here. This morning, Hazel caught a mouse and then brought it, dragged it over to Jesse. It was all proud, so we gave her a little treat as a reward. I'm trying to get a good scene of her. There she is. Yeah, Hazel has been very helpful. So since she's been here, this greenhouse has been pretty clear of rodents and other things that would love to nibble on seedlings, including like rabbits and that sort of thing.
Great question. But let's just introduce you to the rest of our teams. These guys are on the break. I know you guys are just starting your day, but these guys started their day early this morning. And we're working in the rain, harvesting in the rain.
Rain or shine, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So hello to our farm team, our farm hands.
You can come in. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right.
For their first snack. Okay, so this is the greenhouse. This is where baby seedlings start. And of course, in a seasonal climate, a lot of these plants, if we're going to get fruit and food from them before the winter comes, they need to start indoors before they can go outdoors. So starting seedlings is one of the most challenging parts of farming, because whenever you're taking care of a baby, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of care and attention. So here we have some peppers and some eggplants, some There's some tomatoes, some beautiful lettuces of all colors, all the way back. So at the front part of this greenhouse, we have seedlings. And this is a working farm. You're gonna literally bump into people working all day. This is intensive farming. There's a lot going on all the time, and we're all very tired at the end of the day. Just gonna walk down the other end of the greenhouse and see lots of other kinds of seedlings. We have microgreens, super rich in nutrients, some beautiful purple kale microgreens, and you can see all the lovely colors that happen in the greenhouse. And then at the end of the greenhouse here, we have some stuff that's in the ground already. So some peas and some carrots. And
Eggplant
some
there?
lettuce.
Is that eggplant in front of us? Or?
And some eggplant that's just been...
Look at that lettuce. Look at that mixed salad greens. You can just eat that right now.
We're going to exit over here if we can. Oh, we're not going to exit over here.
We're locked in. Sorry,
So
folks.
as you can see, in between each of the rows are pathways. And so we stay on the pathways. And the pathway, the beds, the flower beds that the plants are planted in are large enough that somebody can reach over. They're not too large, so that the workers can easily reach for harvesting, for weeding. Then we're going to head outside. It's pretty toasty in the greenhouse, so I'm looking forward to going outside. It's a bit cooler.
I just have a question for you. I think would be important to answer at the beginning here. We're wondering, what does Zawadi mean?
Oh, let's ask Jesse. Jesse, what does Zawadi mean?
Very good question. Zawadi means, it's a very good question. Zawadi means gift. Simplicity of that is the land we have right now is a gift, meaning we found it and we're going to take care of it. And once we're done with it, we're going to leave it for somebody else. So we're stewarding land. So to say that I own land is kind of, doesn't really catch it. So Zawadi came from that thought and mindset that we are stewards of land, and how we use it is meant for you. So you who are coming behind us or beside us will soon be farming here, and I will be done and gray and old, and you can take over and learn what we're doing and continue feeding yourself. Zawadi Farm.
And Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong. Earlier on, when you were starting, you were using land that quote unquote belong to other people.
Yes.
And you were stewarding their backyards. Is that correct?
Yes. So we started off in backyard projects, meaning these are people who had we call it farming grass, and they got tired of it and asked us if we can use their spaces to grow food. And we had, at a point, we had about 8 to 9 backyards we were growing on. And it was kind of nice because people from their own backyards were growing their own food, which was very incredible. But soon we started now giving those lands back to their owners, and then we started farming on a scale like this, which John and Karina will show you fully what we're doing. But now we grew from that. We learned from small. I never farmed a day in my life, to be honest. And 9 years ago now, I started farming just by learning and putting myself in the field. And as I grew up in spaces, I grew into bigger spaces, and a little bigger space, and now we have a team of 6 to 9 people working with us at one time, which is incredible just to think about it. So, Zawadi Farm.
Nice. That's my quote of the day: is farming grass. Farming grass. If you have a really nice lawn at your house, did you know that you are farming grass?
So, and Zawadi is a Swahili word. Jesse is originally from Kenya, came here to start college, and so that's one of his heart languages. So we're out in the fields. There are 5 farmers at this Downsview plot, 5 different farms. So they work together. They share some of the material. They share some of the work, and they each have their own businesses that they run. So this is the Zawadi part. We're walking past the garlic bed, and the garlic looks like it's so big and healthy and high because it was planted in fall and early spring, and it's one of the earlier crops. See that you don't see a lot of soil here, so this is part of the regenerative regenerative farming we were talking about, if you walk out into the forest, you won't see almost ever bare soil. It has leaves, dead leaves, branches. So we call that mulch. And the mulch that's on top of this soil is wood chip mulch. And that is doing a number of things. As it breaks down, it's feeding the soil and putting those nutrients back into the soil. It's also conserving water and preventing the water from quickly evaporating it up into the atmosphere. And so there's less watering and less irrigation that needs to be happening.
Where'd the wood chips come from, Karina?
And so the wood chips are just from local arborists. They cut down trees. They're always looking for a place to dump wood chips. And so then they bring it and drop it off into the farm, and everyone's happy. They're happy. We're happy. And then, of course, the mulch that's on these beds are very newly planted, is compost. So that beautiful, rich stuff right there is compost. Compost is organic matter, so things that were alive at one point, but dead plants, dead animals, dead trees, all those things get regenerated and turned back into life. The soil is the soil that we walk on every day is such a beautiful thing.
We actually have a question about your compost, if that's okay.
Yes.
Speaking of it, so Crystal is wondering, can you use sugary things for the compost that you layer on the soil? And what are the best items to use as compost for nutrients for the soil?
I love that. We are heading down to a compost pile that we actually make. We make some of our own compost here as part of our workshops. And just, what are you going to do? We have a lot of plant debris or plant waste. And so we like to turn it back into the soil. One of the ways I like to think about it is the plant takes a lot of nutrients up into itself as it's growing, and so it's taking out of the soil. And so compost is about putting that back into the soil so that soil stays healthy. So all plant matter is actually some form of sugar, right? Carbohydrates is sugar. The plants take energy from the sun, and through a process of photosynthesis, turn it into different kinds of sugar, more fibrous sugar with lots of carbon, and then then simple carbohydrates, more simple carbohydrates, and starches and such. So I guess everything that goes into the compost is technically sugary stuff, but I don't think you want to put a lot of sweets or candy or whatever. So what we put in is 20% of our compost. 40% of our compost, is brown material, brown woody material, or things that have died.
Straw, leaves, wood chips. Those are things that, so that would be brown. 40%
is green material, things that have been chopped while they still look brown, but they're technically green material. Sugar is still in the plants. And so 40% that a nitrogen source. So on farms, that's often like animal manure, animal poop is very high in nitrogen. In the city, of course, one of our big resources for nitrogen is coffee grounds. Lots of coffee shops, and we'll turn that into compost as well. And then a lot of water and a lot of air, so we're turning that compost a lot. So this is a flower bed. These are flower beds. These are all going to look like beautiful flowers in a couple months. I wish you guys can come see, and you can come see if you live close to Toronto or in Toronto. Downstairs Park, the farm is open every day, and we even have Saturdays, and you can drop in Saturday mornings and farm with us a little bit. So we wish you could. We are inviting you to come visit this farm.
Oh, we lost connection. Time for me to turn off my.
It looks like it's still. Oh. Okay, they're gonna figure out their connection. Sorry that it's a little spotty there. We're gonna have them join again. Okay, you guys are back. Yeah, it was just getting a little blurry on your walk there, but I think if you stand more still, it'll stay clearer.
Yeah, it was flipping to, we were flipping out of the Wi-Fi. That's what was happening. Okay, hopefully you can see this now. We're just coming up to the worm compost bin.
So this is our worm compost, and we farm worms here. I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, some really good pictures of some worms. They're kind of burying themselves down in there.
Sorry, guys. It's a little blurry. I don't think we can see it.
Okay. We'll head back.
Yeah. We can see generally the soil,
All right, we'll
and
head back.
it's not very, it's not super clear. But we do have a question, if it's okay if you want to answer it on your way back.
Sure.
Right. So,
Sure.
Crystal
Can
said,
you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you at least. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So Crystal's wondering, we love that you visit schools. We are a school in a farming community and wondering how far you go to visit schools.
Oh, that's a great question. I guess we'll try to work it out if we can. You know, a number of us do, you know, have connections outside the city, obviously. So yeah, please give us a call, and we would love to connect with your school and try to figure out if we can come out of the city. And yeah. So please, we like to be flexible. Great question.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you know, like I think one thing about learning is, yeah, we're often learning from one another. So there are some things that are unique about farming in the city, and it'd be really cool to learn from you guys. Yeah. So we just want to show you a couple of the farming tools. I'm going to show you some of my favorite farming tools that we use on this scale of farming. Of course, gloves. You need your gloves. This is my favorite farming knife. So this we use for planting, a little bit for harvesting, definitely for weeding. And so these are the small hand tools that we use. And then for harvesting, you need a really sharp knife. So this is my harvesting knife. So I always go into the field with this. And then some of the bigger tools, you can do almost everything you need to on this scale with a hoe. You can move the soil, you can weed. We practice what is called minimal tillage or minimal soil disturbance. Again, you may already know this, but there's so much life in the soil. In 1 teaspoon of soil, there are more than 9 billion microorganisms. That's more than the number of people in the world. So that is their home. The soil is their home, and they make it possible for the plants to get the minerals that they need so the plants can grow and feed us. They take carbon from the atmosphere and put it back into the soil, and so that we can reduce our carbon footprint. The microorganisms in the soil, you know, we were able to show you some worms, but those are the macroorganisms. Those are the bigger things. But the microorganisms, the things that you can't see, do amazing miracles in the soil. So we like to disturb their home as little as possible. So when we hoe, we're not hoeing very deeply. We're just taking the weeds down, and we're really trying to protect that soil. Of course, there are some weeds that need a little bit of a more disturbance because they go deeper into the soil. So we move the soil around with that. Our rake to make those beds nice and flat, and then a shovel. So those are just some. There's so many kinds of weeders and hand tools, but those are some of the ones that we use most often. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, actually, do you mind if we move back to where we started? And then we have quite a few questions if you want to kind of do a Q&A from there. It just might be a little clearer. But while we're walking there.
I'll flip back to Wi-Fi.
Perfect. All right. So one of the questions we have while we're walking over is, how do you protect your crops so they don't get stolen in such a large area?
Well, that is a challenge. At first, I can't really see too well from this view, but around the perimeter now, there are some fences that I would say about 5 feet tall. And initially, there were gates, and the gates were all open and unlocked. But then there have been some thefts. So there's one time someone broke into the farm stand money box. People have come in at night and taken whole rows of onions, in the light of their car high beams or just flashlights, things like that. So it's been a challenge, and unfortunately, and we really do feel it's unfortunate because you want to keep a community vibe um, on the farm, but they had to install cameras and that kind of stuff. So it has gotten more high security, which is sad to us, but
Yeah, so now we
hope
do
that
have
changes.
security cameras. We watch Hazel also with the security cameras and see the different animals on the farm. But yeah, we have had to do some of those things, which we did not do in the past.
Okay. Question here, which plant takes the longest to grow?
Great question. Definitely one of them is tomatoes, pumpkins. Those are both ones that we have to start indoors and get them going. One of the ones that takes the longest to germinate before it comes through the soil will be carrots. You have to be nice and patient for our carrots to come. Once they come up, they don't take too long. So tomatoes would be one of them. They're really pushing the limit as to what you can grow in this kind of climate.
Asparagus too, right? Asparagus takes 2 years. I'm just learning about that.
At least a few years.
Yeah, to get established.
That's an investment for sure. Okay, we have another question. What's the most popular plant you are growing there?
Probably one of the most popular plants was just harvested today would be salad greens. So people love the salad greens. Yeah, they go all the time. We also have another really popular one is callaloo. So we've been growing callaloo now for a couple of years, and callaloo is in the amaranth family and is traditionally eaten a lot in the Caribbean area, and it's delicious and very nutritious. So that's a popular plant. Yeah, those are a couple of the most popular.
Awesome. And we're wondering, where do your crops go? Do they go to markets, food banks, community? Oh, sorry. Did you hear the question?
Maybe we should put it back on. Put it back on Wi-Fi.
Where do your crop go? Yeah, so some of Jesse's crops, a lot of them go down to St. Lawrence Market, which is right downtown Toronto. Jesse and some of the farmers here on site have a subscription service also. So for those of you that live in rural areas, you might be familiar with CSAs, or community supported agriculture, but in the city often we call it subscription service because people understand subscriptions, Netflix and all that kind of thing. So yeah, they're sold directly to market. They're also sold subscription, so people come and pick up their vegetable box each week. And, I think Jesse was doing deliveries. I'm not sure if he still does that.
Okay, perfect.
And food banks too, actually. Food bank. There also are donations that go to food banks, and we try not to waste things as best as possible.
Awesome. All right. What is the biggest obstacle you face gardening in the city?
The biggest obstacle we faced this morning was getting there on time through the traffic. Downsview Park used to be an airport, and so it's the highest place in the city, and so the winds are really strong. And that for the liftoff of airplanes, that was great. For farming, it's not always so good. So we've had to put in a lot of wind barriers. Like, it's super windy here, and of course that picks up the big tarps that sometimes we use to kill weeds, again, because we're not tilling the ground or minimal tillage. We use other things to kill weeds, including big tarps that we lay down so the sun can kill those weeds. But then, yeah, those winds come up and they like to pick up those tarps, rattle the greenhouses. So that could be anywhere, but this is particular to Downsview Park.
I think one other challenge, it's more about markets, I guess, but when you have a grocery store just a block or two away, then in the city, people really are used to convenience. I could just go over there and do that. So sometimes for some people, it's a bit of a hard sell, or they have a hard time wrapping their mind around, like, why would I go to a farm, or why would I get that? I could just go to No Frills and get that stuff. So that mentality, I think, where there's a lot of farms, people understand CSAs and getting stuff right off the farm a little bit more, but in the city, it's a bit more of a, you have to educate people on it.
And it's hard to get manure for our compost too.
Manure and compost, and just having space to make it. And
Right.
so on the compost side of things, like making compost, you need the stuff. So on the farm, there's a lot of green materials that we can use, but sometimes it's harder to find the wood chips. So that's where the arborists come in. But then you have to rely on maybe people that do landscaping who can bring by some leaves. We've gotten donations from them. There's a coffee shop that donates mulch from or not mulch, it's chaff from making coffee. So we'll use that in our worm bin. So I think you have to really have strong relationships with people in the city in order to get some of those materials that are harder to find, because it can get very expensive when you start importing your compost or importing straw and hay and those types of things. It gets a little crazy. So it's got to be creative. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll just do a couple more questions. I think that's all we have time for. But Giselle's wondering, how many days do you work on the farm in a year?
Oh, that's a great question. So of course the 8 to 9 months when we're on the farm, but then there's starting seedlings beforehand in the greenhouse. So there's really only a couple months that we're not working. And during those months, you're planning, you're ordering seeds, you're, doing your accounting as a farmer. So, taking a well-deserved rest for your body.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a class here that would love advice as they are starting a container garden at their school. Any tips, tricks that will help them out?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts come to mind. I love container gardening. One of the things that we do here is because a lot of people live on balconies or in apartment buildings, they can still garden, and container gardenings are fantastic. One of the things we like to use are called wicking containers. So building a reservoir of water into those containers because the soil does dry out quicker than in the ground. So if you have a reservoir, then you're not worried about your plants drying out over the weekend or when you go away on vacation. I think building soil with all those same components of soil and making sure your soil is alive by putting lots of compost and microorganisms, putting mulch on the top. Highly recommend that. You can do the same things that you do in regenerative farming, you can do in containers. And then knowing that your containers are going to heat up more than the soil is. So, you have a great opportunity to grow more of the tropical plants and things that really like that warmer soil.
Awesome. All right. We're going to Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. I was just going to say, if you just look up self-watering or wicking containers on YouTube, you can find a million do-it-yourself versions of that you can geek out on.
And I just want to say to those high school students that have joined us, a lot of our crew here is still in high school, just out of high school, and they are loving this job. They're learning a lot and they're getting really strong. So look into volunteering at your local farm, learning some of those skills and enjoying just, the wonder of being in nature and feel free to show some interest in joining our team here.
Yeah, that's actually the question I was going to ask to end off. If there's people that wanted to, is that for volunteer hours or is it a job? What would they be looking at if they wanted to join?
All of the above. So there, I know Jesse takes volunteers. Oh,
Yeah, here, Elin. Let's ask Jesse and Elin. So Elin has done a lot of volunteering hours. Now she's working as a farmhand. Elin is in her first year of university. But Jesse, they're asking about volunteer hours, work placements, and those kinds of things.
Very good question. The best way to do it, if you depending if your parents, just email to volunteer@zawadi.farm. You'll find us there. If you're looking for a job, go to careers@zawadi.farm. That's both emails. We'll respond accordingly to that. If you want to just do volunteer hours, use that email link, volunteers@zawadi.farm, and our team will communicate with you. It is work, just to be sure. It is hands on deck. You're in the elements. You're lifting. You're pushing. You're pulling. So just be kind to yourself as much as you will enjoy it with us. But use those two emails: careers@zawadi if you're looking for the job, or volunteers@zawadi.farm, and we'll find us there.
And if you just want to get a taster, come on a Saturday morning between 9 and noon and just drop by, introduce yourselves, come work with us for a little bit.
That's
the
awesome.
best way to learn is in the field. As much as you can read books, as much as you can do anything. That's actually how I started farming. Is I went to a farm and said, I don't know what this is, but I want to do something with it. And they literally helped me volunteer with them, and I worked with them for about 2 years before I started my own project. But that's how I started. So come volunteer, spend some time with us, see how things are done, and just start from there.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, yeah, that's a great way to put it. You don't need to know anything before going to a farm. They'll teach you everything. It'll be fun. It'll be hard work, but rewarding work for sure. Yeah, I think we're about at that time. I wanted to say thank you so much for showing us around your farm. It has been great. And for everyone watching, thank you for your questions. Sorry we didn't get to all of them. They were awesome. And please reach out to them if you are interested or have any questions or want to go visit or want them to visit you at your school. Yeah, it's Local Food Week, so thank you for celebrating with us. And is there anything you two want to say to everyone watching before we sign off?
I just think, we're called growing growers because, the only thing on every farm is a farmer. A farmer is what makes the farm. If you're growing something, anything on your balcony, in your backyard, you're a grower, and you can teach somebody else the things that you know. And that's what we're doing. And we hope many more people just are able to join that sustainability of being able to grow their own food, that food sovereignty, being in charge of some of their own food, so that, we can just be healthier, our planet can be healthier, and we can be more connected to one another, to our planet, and to the things that we need to be connected to. So
That was awesome.
that's how I'm going to end.
That was that was really good. Amazing. So goodbye everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Happy Local Food Week. Check out the other things we got going on, and hope you have a great rest of your day.